Germany took the chance to underline their policy to force back all Albanian asylum seekers and illegal immigrants, as well as preventing their entry to the country for a period of 5 years. EU Ambassador Romana Vlahutin visited Kukës today to inspect some investments with EU funds. Vlahutin said that the departure of young people towards EU countries should be stopped by offering employment. A collaborative agreement for improving the management of the marine environment by reducing pollution was signed today by Albania, Croatia and Montenegro. Good evening. It's 6:05 on Friday the 16th of March 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra, bringing you the day's top stories from across the countries translated into English. Albanian asylum seekers and illegal immigrants remain a concern for Germany. Speaking at a conference for migration organised by Instat, the German ambassador to Albania, Susanne Schutz, said that the category of people will be returned with force and will be banned from entering Germany for 5 years. We welcome the growing interest of young people who want to study in Germany, but we do not welcome those who abuse the rights of movement. The number of illegal immigrants and asylum seekers is still very high. Albania is a candidate country for the EU and is not a country with political persecution. The conditions in Albania do not warrant asylum abroad. Those who attempt to stay illegally in Germany will be returned to Albania, even with force if it's necessary, and will be banned from entering Germany for up to 5 years, said Susanne Schutz. In response, the Albanian Prime Minister, Edi Rama, reiterated that the number of Albanian asylum seekers has dropped significantly over recent times, before adding statements that emigration is increasing is purely speculation. The number of Albanian asylum seekers has dropped drastically, said Edi Rama. According to the head of the government, emigration is a normal phenomenon and also widespread in EU countries, and added that their contribution to the Albanian economy is appreciated. According to data, emigration remittances value approximately 618 million euros a year. Albanian emigration is smaller compared to EU countries, said Edi Rama. For the director of Instat, Delina Brahimaj, the integration of returning emigrants remains a challenge for Albania. The data shows that on average about 25,000 Albanians return to Albania each year. Those emigrants who return to Albania need conditions for integration, said Delina Brahimaj. Albania experienced a massive emigration of about 1.1 million Albanians after the 1990s as a result of difficult living conditions and poverty. But even in the census of the population in 2011, it was found that emigration continues to be high. Stop the departure of young people seeking new lives within European countries by offering employment. This was the message of the European Union Ambassador Romana Vlahutin in Kukës, one of the municipalities most affected by the phenomenon of asylum seekers. Reiterating the stance that Albanians do not have any chance to benefit asylum, Mrs. Vlahutin said that the solution is to create opportunities here. We discussed that we can do more for employment, since Kukës is one of the municipalities that are losing more young people. Many of them are looking for what is impossible, asylum in EU countries. But this is not the way. What needs to be done is to create opportunities here, said Romana Vlahutin. Present in Kukës for inspecting some investments with EU funds, Mrs. Vlahutin stressed that all interventions to be made in the future must be well planned. We talked about the airport of Kukës. We are awaiting the feasibility study and will discuss what more can be done in the future, said Romana Vlahutin. Asked about permits for the construction of several hydropower plants in Šištovec, the EU ambassador said she would receive more information, but stressed that building infrastructure and preserving the environment is a great challenge. Kukës is one of the municipalities that has benefited the most from projects from the EU, among which are the Šištovec Road and Morini Customs. Albania and Turkey should increase trade exchanges, promote mutual investment and strengthen cooperation in the fight against international terrorism. This was the statement by the President of the Republic, Ilir Meta, during a meeting he held with the Prime Minister of Turkey, Binali Yildirim. during his participation in the Baku Global Forum. President Meta praised the traditionally friendly and fraternal relations as well as the strategic partnership between the two countries. Meta praised the role and contribution given by the Turkish State Agency for Cooperation and Coordination, TİKA, which is present and has extended its supportive activity throughout our country. According to Meta, Turkey is one of the main economic and trade partners for Albania. The head of state underlined the possibilities of increasing this cooperation, both in terms of trade and in direct Turkish investments, which are sustainably growing. Speaking of security issues, President Meta stressed that as two allied countries in NATO and partners for years, Albania and Turkey will continue their close cooperation in the fight against international terrorism and other common threats. That's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and good evening.